Bunch of low lifes. What's going on, everybody? This is the new and improved Philly Experience. Alongside Chris Thacker, Tanner Martin, Tyre Hood, I'm Max James, your host today. We're going to dive into some Phillies talk. We got the Anthony Davis trade. We got some NBA draft to discuss, the drafts tonight. Guys, I want to start with the Phillies today.
All right.
39-34 record. We're 4 games back of the Atlanta Braves. The last 2 weeks we've been on the show. It's been a lot of Phillies talk to open, and it's going to continue today because the Phillies are in a tailspin right now going downhill.
Who?
The Phillies are bad.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Who are we talking about?
Just the Phillies. Oh, God. I don't even know where.
Sick of this.
I don't even know where to start, guys. I mean, last week, we were looking forward to a nice, National League East
Stretch.
Mania. Mania. Oh, this should have been the WrestleMania of baseball. Dude, what the hell is happening?
We lost 2 games last night. Both games. We lost them.
We lost
both of them.
I think we lost every single game since our last show.
We've lost 7 of 9.
No, 1 game. We won 1 game since our last show.
Well, whip the
Don't forget about the
frickin'
games.
do.
Yeah.
That's how I feel at this point. I'm so irritated at this point. I'm not disappointed. I'm not upset. I'm angry. All right? I am straight up angry. The one aspect of this team that we had confidence in, the batting, is now failing us. And now the batting and the pitching? Are you freaking kidding me?
Look, T, you gotta give them a break. When they take a vacation to Atlanta, I mean, there's a hot sun down there. I
don't care.
It's searing the eyes of Vince Velasquez, who's having a hard time seeing the imaginary
Put some
box.
sunglasses on.
That is the strike zone. All right.
All right, the first question I want to ask you guys, T, you make a good point there. The hitting has been awful lately. We get shut out in the second game in a doubleheader yesterday. So, first question I want to ask you guys. Chris, I'll start with you.
No, boy.
What's the bigger problem right now? The pitching, which we've been talking about a lot lately, especially leading up to the deadline, the trade deadline, July 31st.
Jesus.
Or the hitting, that's really, besides Scott Kingery, has not shown a lot.
This seesaw of crap that has been this season so far. Can I just say they both suck right now? Because they do. They both suck. I mean,
Yeah.
Arrieta definitely came through last night, pitching the best he could. Just got 0 freaking. Same thing with Eflin. Yeah, he gave up 2 runs, but like John Kruk said, like the legend he is, if you only give up 2 runs, you should win a baseball game. You really should.
It's hard to argue that.
And
It's stupid.
and the broadcast team told us, like they showed us on the graphic, and like I told you guys, they are 2-19 when scoring less than 2 runs, which is horrible.
Yeah. I got some stats for you guys, actually.
Oh,
Here's those numbers.
I was going through it, and the Phillies actually have the 20th batting average in the league with 243. And they're 23rd in the league for hits. All right?
I am pissed off.
With a team that has Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto, Gene Segura, who was top 5 in the league last year of putting balls into play. I would, expect maybe top half of the league.
I got something to say about Segura and Harper. If you pay someone $330 million for 13 years, you expect him to be the best player on the team. And right now, he's not the best player. I don't even think there's a best player on the team. They all just are. Right now, they're not doing anything.
Right now, it's Brad Miller.
And I have a question for you guys about Segura. Do you think, I know the smartest move is to bench him, but do you think Kapler will?
No, because who are you going to put in there? Sean Rodriguez?
He has to have some sort of punishment for, this is the second time hustling. The first time he didn't, for not hustling, the first time he didn't hustle, McCutchen got hurt going back into first base. So is there a punishment ahead for Segura?
For me personally, I know a lot of people, I might be one of the few that actually would start him tonight. I just think that the way we're playing right now, you need to get W's.
I mean, he didn't hustle at all.
I know.
He could have had a double.
McCutchen being hurt right now is, I thought at the beginning I knew his impact on the team in the leadoff spot, but we're scrambling for a leadoff hitter right now.
And it's
Gene
funny.
Segura's 2 for his last 15.
It's funny because me and Chris was just talking about that before the show started. We were talking about how crazy it is, like ever since the Andrew McCutchen injury, how this team has basically fell off because of his presence and the lack of a leadoff hitter. That's incredible to me. One player and the batting on now all of a sudden just starts collapsing. I don't understand. We have way too many contact hitters for us to be having 2 runs, 1 run, no runs. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And while I'm on my rant Sunday, let me tell you, that blowout was absolutely horrendous. All right? I was at a steak establishment in New Jersey, a very infamous steak establishment. All right, I got an 18-ounce sirloin steak in front of me, beautiful, cooked perfectly, medium well.
All in a good mood, ready to watch the game, and all of a sudden,
boom!
A1 sauce in the left hand.
Hey,
fork in the right hand.
Hey, the fork, yes. Knife was in the other hand. No A1 sauce. That is a complete violation, and you know it.
So what was most frustrating about that loss to you, T? What were you looking at? Were you looking at just the pitching? It's almost like no one really even showed up to play.
We talking? Wait, hold on. So you're talking about Sunday?
Correct.
15-1 loss.
Yes.
The fact that our bullpen went belly up, it threw the whole game. Vince, okay.
Literally.
It all started with that attempted pickoff with who? Vince. Sorry, I forgot your name. Vince Velasquez trying to pick off whoever the lead, Acuna.
Low life.
And ever since that, he steals second, single, Freddie Freeman, and then it was just a downhill slide, avalanche. Sorry.
All of the above.
We get what you're saying, Chris. We get what you're saying.
Thank you.
Mess.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, T. He asked you the question.
Like Max was saying, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to enjoy my steak. I got a good enough spot, in front of the TV. Got my salad. I had my salad. Felt good. Like I said, I had an 18-ounce New York strip sirloin steak. I'm about to enjoy myself. I'm enjoying my family, and all of a sudden, a couple cracks of the bats, and the scoreboard starts running up, and it's on. It was
that opener thing is not working out. Like the Tampa Bay Rays, for example, they have the guys, they know their roles, and they've been doing it for a year, 2 years now. So they're good at it. We can't just go out there against good teams like the Dodgers and the Braves and try throwing out an opener. We just get lit up.
I'm sorry. This might just be my flipping ignorance, but who is on the Rays? I can name Snell, Charlie Morton, Tommy Pham.
What my point was.
Sorry, Kevin Kiermaier.
They've been doing it for so long now, over a year, that
I'm very angry.
That everybody that pitches for them, they know. Okay, like for example, I was watching a game a couple weeks ago. The Rays were playing the Red Sox. The Rays were losing 7-0, but the starting pitcher that was in that game for them was still pitching in that
Blake
game.
Snell.
So I don't. It wasn't Blake Snell.
Charlie Morton.
No, it wasn't Charlie Morton.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those opener guys. But I guess what I'm trying to say is Alex Cora, the manager, the Tampa Bay Rays, I think they basically say if this opener doesn't go deep for me or he doesn't pitch well, he's staying out there and we lose the game because he knows that he's got talented guys like Charlie Morton, who you mentioned, and Blake Snell to rebound off of the next day or two after that. Plus, they also have a great lineup as well. So back to the opener thing for the Phillies, I think it's just not going to work out. But another thing I wanted to ask you guys was Pavetta's pitching great. Arrieta again last night, really solid with extra days rest. Nola, you still think every time he goes out to the mound, we got a good chance to win. Yeah. And Eflin's been great this season. So there's 4 starters that we have in this rotation that you think we got a shot to win, and they're pitching well. The 5th guy, obviously, is non-existent. Cole Irvin, by the way.
Okay.
He comes in yesterday's game. Gabe Kapler brings him in. It's a 3-1 game. Why are you have Jose Alvarez, a guy who's given you good innings this year? Why are you bringing in Cole Irvin? He gives up back-to-back home runs. You basically just give the game away.
That's not the position you want to put a young player in, especially a young player still trying to get his feet wet in the major leagues. I thought that was a really questionable move. And now, with moves like that, now it's hard, not to start looking at the coaching staff. Start looking at what's the batting coach doing. What is Gabe Kapler saying? Now I'm starting to question those things. Usually I'm real quick to blame the player because it still is a player's game and players still play the game. But when I don't see there's any change and you're doing the same thing constantly over and over again and you're expecting a different result, now I'm going to start looking at the coach. So now, Gabe Kapler, you're under my microscope. Go ahead, Tanner.
Us the Phillies as a team have a 4.50 ERA, and we've given up the fourth most amount of home runs with 117.
What?
117 home runs.
Fourth most?
The first place, or the team in first place for most, giving up most home runs is the Orioles with 147. But we're fourth in most home runs given up.
The 2011 Phillies team gave up 120 home runs, or 117 home runs for the season
For
back
the
in 2011.
season. We're right there right now.
And now that's where we are right now. And that just shows you how much the game's changed.
I wanted to address your statement on the pitching. Yeah, I did just look and see that even though Pivetta has, five ERA exactly, he is 4-1.
You know, I've
And
always
he's
been a big
starting-
Pivetta fan. I think he's got the talent to
You
be
are-
a good fourth or fifth guy in the rotation.
And I mean, yeah, we know where you've stuck your stake.
And so far, he
Not-
hasn't been disappointing me since he's been back.
No, he has not. Ever since he got that fire lit under him, he's been looking pretty good. As far as the rest of the pitching staff, no, I'm really concerned with Nola. It's getting to the point where he's becoming not an ace in my eyes. A guy, you flip a coin and he's either gonna have a good game or a bad game.
But that's something that we talked about some shows ago. Was he an ace? Now you guys still considered him an ace. Now in my eyes, he's not performing like an ace.
He's not performing
Right now in the season, we're still talking about if he's an ace or if this is just a bad year for him. That he's not doing good, and we're still talking about how he's not doing good.
One thing
you
I wanted
guys
to add,
were saying he was going to recover from
traded
it.
away-
Yeah, I think he will. I think listen, last season, finishing third in the Cy Young voting. Now coming into this season, he's shown signs that he still has that stuff. Obviously, he's not been the same pitcher, but we've seen games where he has double-digit strikeouts and maybe 6 or 7 shutout innings. So he's got the stuff. The consistency obviously isn't there. One thing I wanted to touch on: this fifth spot in the rotation, we can't avoid it. It's going to come up again, I think, Saturday, right? We've been talking the last couple of episodes about how we're one starter away, or maybe we're one bullpen piece away. Now it looks like with our offense, the way that we're playing right now, we're a lot further away than we probably thought a couple of weeks ago. So my question to you guys is, what do we do about that fifth spot? You can't start Cole Irvin. Eichhoff's hurt on the DL. You don't want to use Velasquez again. He's been a reliever for the last 2 months. I don't think he's ready to go deep into the ball game. Do you just go into the minor leagues and try to get somebody and hopefully he can come up and give you something decent, some consistency at all? Because you don't want to go out and give up a lot for, a starting pitcher to come in and be your fifth guy. Especially because this year probably isn't the year. Even if we go out and get a fifth starter right now, say like a Matthew Boyd or a Mike Minor, who I brought up, our bats still aren't being consistent. Our bats aren't producing for us. So the fifth starter spot isn't really a problem. And we're kind of sitting here scratching our heads like, who's even an option for this fifth spot in our rotation?
I just had a crazy idea, and I don't know how much sense this is going to make, but how about moving Aaron Nola to that 5 spot and finding a number 3, number 4
I think
pitcher?
that's actually kind of how it is right now, because after Nola pitches tomorrow, they don't even have anyone scheduled for Saturday.
Exactly. We don't have anybody.
I think that's how it is right now.
So at this point, stop looking for a number 5. Look for a half-decent pitcher. And at this point, look, you have prospects, as I've said, in the minor leagues. You got to give up something to get something, all right? This team is still built to go far and deep into the playoffs. Let's not forget about that. Remember, this was the hottest team coming out when the season first started. Okay, so they're hitting a little dry patch. Okay, now you're just gonna have to make a couple of changes. I'm not saying give up your entire farm, but pitching is a problem, and you need another starter in that rotation. So you need to go out and you need to make some trades. Okay, you might have to give up. You might have to give up an outfielder that you had highly scouted. Okay, like I said before, sometimes you got to give something up to get something, and this team is too talented to look like the way they are. They look like the way they've been playing so far.
Right.
The frustrating thing about this is the lineup we know has talent. We've seen them before. We know Gene Segura has talent. We know Bryce Harper has talent. Sky Kingery's been hot. We've seen Rhys Hoskins hit a crazy amount of home runs in a short period of time. So we know all these guys have talent. JT Realmuto, I can go on and on and on.
Right.
But the fact is, these guys just aren't producing. And T, you brought up a good point. The coaching might be a problem. I don't know if it's the lineup. The lineup's just not constructed the right way. The hitting coach who's been brought up, I've been hearing things on certain radio shows about how the hitting coach may not, or should be, or may be a problem, I should say. So obviously this needs to be fixed. You have to start with the lineup. I think you have to start with the lineup. Something has to change, right? Gene Segura is 2 for his last 15. He's not a leadoff hitter. Chris, go ahead.
Just real quick to address your pitching about what do we do with that 5th spot. A guy I really liked seeing last year, granted he only I think started 3 games last year, was Enyel De Los Santos. I would like to. I would like to see.
Is he still in the AAA right now?
He's still with the Iron Pigs. He's on the 40-man roster.
Is he starting for them?
I believe so. I also don't know how recently he's pitched, but I mean, looking at like the Iron Pigs roster, the only other guy that kind of makes sense would be Drew Anderson, which
Is he a starting pitcher at AAA?
Let me get that for you.
All right, awesome. Listen, I want to ask you guys while he gets that information. No, we talked about the leadoff spot before. Who's the leadoff guy in this lineup? Listen, you can argue Bryce Harper could be the leadoff guy. His on base percentage, he walks all the time. He gets on base. What do you guys do? We need to make some changes. Gabe Kapler said after last night's game he's going to shake it up. What do you expect in tonight's lineup to look like?
For umpteen weeks now, JT Realmuto.
Right.
I've said that. Why?
He said he's going to make changes. Nothing drastic, but he said he's going to change it up.
I understand it's not the most traditional thing to put a catcher at the 1 spot, but at this point you need to change something. And right now, Realmuto has been one of the more consistent guys at bat, and he's a patient batter. I've stressed this before. Sometimes, yes, speed is a factor at that 1 spot, but it's also patience, discipline, working the count. JT does that. You want so he checks off 3 out of the 4 things that you need out of a leadoff spot. That's beautiful. Just shake it up. Put JT at the 1. Please. I'm begging you.
Quick question. If you're Gabe Kapler, Tanner, I'll ask you first. Do you sit Gene Segura tonight?
Yeah, you got to do something. You got to show him who's boss, and
Can't be doing it. He's got to be hustling.
You got to be hustling.
Yeah. Sorry, Tanner,
this
go ahead.
team's playing with no heart and no hustle right now, and people aren't going to pay to see this team play for much longer. They're not going to spend their hard-earned money. John Kruk talked about this last night. We're mad. And we're going to be even more mad if they keep playing like this, and we're going to show it by not showing up to the stadium.
Yeah. Tay, do you think you start him tonight?
No, you bench him.
Yeah.
Because at this point now, the whole team now is in question. So now, because this incident has come up, now you need to send a clear message that I'm not playing. Gabe Kapler needs to put his foot down and put his stamp on the team. Listen, I'm not happy with what's been going on. I'm not happy with any of you. So now I'm sending a clear message. I'm gonna bench one of my more consistent guys and send a clear message to the entire locker room.
Right.
I'm not playing anymore.
Got to hustle.
Go ahead, Chris.
To answer your question, Drew Anderson and Enyel De Los Santos have both been starters for the Iron Pigs this year.
All year? They've never been relievers, right? Because I know Drew Anderson was up here for a little bit, and he was a reliever.
He was a reliever. Drew Anderson really, for the Iron Pigs, started out really cold, giving up 4, 7, 8 runs a game. His past couple games, his past 3 games, he's given up 2 runs with 5 strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, 8 strikeouts. I mean, it's only 2 runs. He does have an 0-6 record right now for De Los Santos. He's been a bit more consistent than Drew Anderson. He gave up 3 runs his last game he played, which was on the 16th. So he is rested.
Right.
So
I think those 2 options are better options than going out and getting somebody. I would give it a shot.
Now.
I think the thing with De Los Santos is he's only a 2-pitch pitcher, which is why I think they don't want to bring him up and put him in as a starter. He might be more of a reliever long term.
That is a good point.
Drew Anderson probably would be my best bet for Saturday, just based on the fact that he had a hot spring training. He was dominant in spring training, and he actually had a shot early in the season. He got sent back down shortly, but he was pretty consistent coming out of the bullpen for us there. And obviously he didn't play well because he got sent back down, but he's got potential.
I will say this too. Drew Anderson has been, when it comes to the innings pitched per game, it does look like he stays in the game a bit longer than De Los Santos. A lot of 5-6 inning games.
So it's been pretty consistent, right?
Yeah. And oh crap, I just messed something. There we go. And then De Los Santos, it's kind of all over the place. 2 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings, 3 innings.
Yeah.
So,
Tanner, go ahead.
You don't know.
On terms of going back to the leadoff spot for the Phillies.
Long term or for tonight's game without Segura? Because Gabe's
maybe for tonight's game. would it be completely wrong to put Kingery leading off? I mean, he is, for some reason, he's the biggest slugger on the team right now. Kingery,
Who's going
the
to
biggest slugger on the team right now.
lead the team
Really?
in home runs by the end of the year.
Which is sort of ridiculous that Scott Kingery.
Yeah, that's incredible.
But do you guys maybe try it out one game? Put Kingery, even though he has a
Listen,
hot
I
bat right
wouldn't
now.
be against it. You got to make changes. You have to.
If Gabe's confident enough to put him at the 3-hole, he can put him first.
Part of me wants to start Bryce Harper in the leadoff spot.
Bryce
I
Harper,
mean,
yeah.
that
he has
would
a
be
356 on base percentage.
I mean, he walks a ton. I mean,
Yeah.
yesterday he went 0 for 4 in 2 games, but he walked 4 times.
I mean,
pitchers are scared to pitch to him. They don't throw him a strike. If he doesn't, swing at balls and he's patient at the plate, he can get on first base and he's on first.
keyword if.
Players-
Now, what's more important to you? So, I mean, he is a very aggressive base runner. And I wanted to bring that up to you guys. When he is aggressive running the bases, and I mean, I guess you do like to see that, but like last night, do you kind of want him? Just wish he would just hold up and stay at second?
We're paying him $330 million. If he's trying to be aggressive and get to third base and play with his hair on fire like he's done in the past, that's when he's at his best, man. And when he's aggressive, I know he stuttered, and that was his only problem, or else he would have been safe.
Yeah.
He made the right. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he stuttered, but he made the right play. He would have been safe if he didn't stutter around second base. I think the top 4 guys in this lineup, and probably the order I would tonight, if it works going forward, I think you put Bryce Harper in the leadoff spot, and then I think you have some combination of Real Muto and Kingery, 2 and 3, and then I think you have Hoskins in the 4-hole. I think those and those have been your 4 best players, or hitters, I should say, pretty consistently. I know Jay Bruce, he was started out hot. You got to keep him down in the 5-6 spot. That's what he is. He's just a 5 or 6 hitter.
Yep.
Cesar Hernandez the same way. And I like Roman Quinn in there just because he gives you something that no one else does, the speed factor. If he can get on first base somehow and bunt or get a single, he can hurt the opposing team with the speed on base. So I think if you do something with Harper, Kingery, Real Muto, and Hoskins in those 4 spots, and then I know because we're talking tonight because Segura is going to probably be benched, then I think that could work out somehow. And then when Segura comes back in next game, then you got those are 5. Your top 5 guys in that lineup could hurt you. Kingery, the way he's swinging the bat now. So if you can package those 5 players out of the 9 and stack them together and hopefully figure out the right order, because I think the potential's there. We haven't figured out the right order of the lineup yet. They can produce for us.
Well, we did. We did have a correct order to this lineup when we had Andrew McCutchen.
Well, yeah, that works now. We got to work our way
can't do
around
anything
it.
about that now.
Look. Okay, I'm the crazy one on the show. Okay, it's a whole. I mean, it is kind of a media-driven narrative that you get a gray beard on the team and he's the leader of the team. But I mean, like we said earlier, I mean, this might be a little drastic, but Andrew McCutchen going down, that's almost like cutting off the head of this team. Ever since he went down,
The
this
leader of the team, the
has
lot.
just
Yeah, I agree
has
with you
just
100%.
gone downhill, and he filled a more important role than I think we realized. Andrew McCutchen, man.
Yeah,
Clutch was great for us.
Yeah.
He had his moments of where we're like, is he all right? Is he okay? The whole time,
He was the glue. He held everything together. Top
He
of the
was
lineup.
the glue, but it's sports and injuries happen. I don't listen.
That's the
Andrew-
manager. The manager has to figure this out.
Andrew
man. If we lose
McCutchen was great, and I'm not taking anything away from him. But in sports, injuries happen. Okay, guy goes down, step up. How did the Eagles win the Super Bowl?
Nick
Guys,
Foles!
oh, here we go. Anyway, yes, Nick Foles stepped up. Jason Peters went down. Halapoulivaati Vaitai stepped up. Okay, kind of stepped up. But you see the point.
Hey, he did his job.
Yes.
Listen. Vaitai is actually decent at football. Like the guy who we have replacing McCutchen is like Scott Kingery, who's great at the plate, but he's not an everyday center fielder. And Hazley comes up and he goes down immediately. So you're at your 4th, 5th guy in the outfield. Roman Quinn, who finally gets healthy. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Because if he goes down, then what do you do in center field? You really don't have another option.
That guy's
my
a
whole-
speed demon.
But my
Sorry.
whole thing is just you need to step up. Players need to step up at the end of the day. Injuries are going to happen. There's no excuses. All right, this batting lineup is too good. They are too powerful to be.
And they're not
going
producing.
into-
So
right,
this all falls back on Gabe Kapler.
right.
I mean,
It's-
decisions. He's got to make some changes to this lineup. We've seen, like I said before, we've seen these guys produce. they're just not right now.
As a former Flyers coach once said,
I'm not putting up with it. It's too much horse shit.
Right. And
It's too much.
if you bench Segura, you got to put Brad Miller in. How are you guys feeling about Brad Miller?
A bench guy. That's what he is.
Bench guy,
He's
yeah.
a bench guy.
I mean, even though I was sending
he's gotta be.
ridiculous texts like he is 2 for 4 career all time.
I mean, I'll
against Max
give him
Scherzer.
credit. He's got pop in his bat, and he's a left-handed hitter, which we don't have a lot of.
Since you mentioned Scherzer, I just want to give him credit for pitching 7 shutout innings with a
I
black
mean-
eye and broken nose.
I mean,
Well, part of me
it's
wants to say
Max
I'm surprised,
Scherzer,
but
though.
it's yeah.
Guy's got
it is
ice in
Max
his
Scherzer.
veins.
Yep. That was pretty impressive, though.
I was saying,
As sad as that game was.
the guys, the radio guys were saying, oh, maybe he like won't be able to breathe too well because he's got a broken nose. I was like, have you guys been watching
man,
this
that's
guy
messed
for like
up.
the past 10 years?
that's messed
I
up.
missed that.
That's funny.
I've been hearing a lot of guys talk about Gabe Kapler and how he should be fired. Where do you stand on Gabe? I know he's been back and forth all season. He's
Well-
kind of even keeled. Does this guy need to go,
Well,
and we need to get somebody else in
You
here?
talk about Andrew McCutchen being the glue that holds this team together, and I agree with you to a point, but so should Gabe. I mean,
He just makes wrong decisions. Like a prime example is Cole Irvin yesterday. You don't bring in Cole
There's
Irvin.
no need.
It's the
Yes, that
7th
was
inning in a
unnecessary
3-1
move.
game. You got Jose Alvarez warming up, who's been a consistent guy. I know his ERA isn't the best, but he's been in this role his whole career. And then you're going to throw in a guy who's probably a starter long term, but you bring him out of the bullpen in a tight game, 3-1. You got to bring in Alvarez.
and and then also with JD Hammer, and they brought him in 2 walks all of a sudden, and I forget how he got out of the inning, but he did. But putting those young guys in those tight situations like that, it's putting a lot of weight on the shoulders of pitchers who have just not been put in this situation in the highest league in the world.
You know what I say? This is how we solve the problem here.
Okay.
And I know it's not the best idea.
Hit us with it.
Adam Morgan's going to get healthy. He should be back by Saturday.
Hopefully.
Who's been great this season for us. All right, so there's him, and you got Hector Neris. I know Hector Neris. He hasn't been labeled as the closer. I pitch him more. I'm like, you know what, Hector? We need 3 outs here in the 7th inning. I'm not going in there and grabbing J.D. Hammer. All right, because he's going to walk 2 guys and then maybe give up a 3-run homer and the game's over. I'm like, Hector, get in there. And maybe if we can get 3 outs in the 7th inning and then we come up to bat in the 7th and somebody hits a 3-run homer, we get a little bit more, leeway with who we use in the 8th inning. You never know. Things could happen like that. Maybe you can bring in a less talented pitcher to pitch the 8th. And if he gives up a 3-run homer, then fine. But we have some comfort because we just added on more runs.
Yeah,
T,
there's
you're
nothing-
wincing, but look at who you have available to you. All right? Who are you putting in a tight game, whether we're up or down? Are you
I mean,
putting in-
Neshek just got hurt again. I mean, the guy comes back,
Yes.
throws 3 pitches, and he strains a hamstring. I mean, the guy's career. First of all, he doesn't even want to pitch for us. We saw that Cole Cubs situation. He said, my arm's a little sore right now. I can't go in there and pitch when we needed him. A guy you rely on, a veteran guy who's got
Which was
a ton of
shocking.
experience, who's been consistent for the majority of his career. And you don't want guys like that on your team. You need guys that you can rely on. Right now, Hector Neris is one of the few guys in the bullpen you can rely on, and you have Adam Morgan coming back. There's 2. Give me a number 3. Give me a third option, Chris. Give me a third option.
I want to hear T's their third option because Hector Neris is right now the guy.
I'm wondering because I gotta agree with y'all.
I mean, what do you want me to do? Oh, hey, Juan Nicasio, where you at? Get out there.
That's the reason why I'm wincing because I gotta agree. Like, you really don't have much of a choice. Y'all know how I feel about Hector
What?
Neris. Y'all know I don't trust him as soon as he comes to that mound.
Juan Nicasio. Play the clip. Okay, no, okay. No, but yeah, what are you, like, I mean...
Jose Alvarez, he's been okay for us.
Like,
It's
that's
fine.
my number 2
if
guy.
If Jose Alvarez goes out in the 7th inning, a left-hander against, maybe you get 2 or 3 righties or lefties in the lineup coming up for the opposing team, I got confidence in Alvarez. Get 3 outs. If he gives up a hit or 2, I'm not going to be shocked like Jose Alvarez should give a hit. He's not a
confidence
lockdown.
than Juan Nicasio.
But listen, Edgar Garcia, J.D. Hammer,
Yeah,
Juan
he pitched
Nicasio.
last
I
night,
mean,
didn't
guys. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? We
pitched
got
last
one
night,
guy.
right?
We got one. Yeah, he did. He came in. We got one guy in the bullpen, and Adam Morgan comes back. Maybe we have 2.
Hopefully. And
Sir Anthony's out. Robertson comes back maybe in the next 5 years. I mean, who the hell knows
I was
at this
about
point?
to ask you that. Where does he lie upon with his injury? It's like, geez.
The one
how
guy,
much do
well,
they
I will
pitch it?
say, I'm happy he's back, is Adubarai Ramos. He's been pretty consistent for us, and he's got previous. He's shown us in the past that he has the talent to be solid out of the bullpen in the 7th or 8th inning. So basically, you got 2 or 3 guys, And until Robertson comes back, which I don't know when that'll be. I mean, Wednesday Robertson comes back, we pay him $21 million over 2 years.
That's what I'm trying to find out. But as far as Edebrey Ramos returning, like, thank God that at least some reinforcements
Ramos,
are coming.
Neris, and Morgan will be back Saturday. There's 3 guys in the bullpen.
Yeah.
3.
Hopefully. I'm trying to figure out this David Robertson thing.
Yeah, no problem.
So.
Listen, I'll get back to you on that. I want to change the topics real quick. Anthony Davis gets traded. Finally. I mean, God, he's been wanting to trade out of New Orleans for, it feels like a year now.
It's about damn time.
He finally gets a trade out. He's going to go join LeBron in L.A.
The Lake Show is back.
Basically, the first question
Not even.
in general here, what do you guys think about this trade? Who won the trade? Do you think it works out for both sides? Can the Lakers win a title with just 2 superstars? Are they going to need more help? What do you guys think?
Well, both teams won the trade in a way.
They did.
The Pelicans got rid of someone that did not want to be there, and they got young players and draft picks, which is going to help them later when they trade that 4th draft pick.
It depends on how you look at it. Yes, Tanner, I agree with you to a certain extent that they both won the trade. But if you look at it from a long-term standpoint of view, I say the Pelicans won. Because you gave up all those assets the Lakers did to get one player because you want to win now.
Right.
With LeBron being there and LeBron being at the tail end of his career, that's fine. But now you strapped yourself for the future. Because you gave up young prospects, you gave up the number 4 overall draft pick, you gave up what, 2 first round, additional 2
Here's
first
the full
round
trade.
picks?
Anthony Davis to the Lakers, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and 2 first-round picks go back. Turner, I want to ask you the question. You said you know the Lakers roster. You have all the information there. How many guys do they have under contract? I know they have LeBron. I know they have Anthony Davis. Do they have any role players in there? A lot of those guys are free agents. Who are they going to pair with these 2 guys in order to try to make a deep run?
Well,
That's
the
my
starters
whole
right now are just James, Kuzma, and Davis. They got Wagner as backup center. They got Jones, small forward, and Bonga at point guard.
Okay. So basically, they got a bunch of nobodies
they
and
got
2
a bunch
superstars.
Of nobodies. Yeah, 2 superstars and 1 player that's really going to step it up.
Kuzma's good. I'll give him credit. Kuzma's really good.
Yeah, but the rest of the squad is...
Bunch of
Right,
lowlifes.
what you were back to what you were saying.
Yeah, perfect timing. Perfect timing. I like that.
Back to what you were saying about the Pelicans in winning this trade. All right, I'll say they won this trade, and the Lakers really did mess up by, not that they messed up, but they hurt themselves that now if this trade doesn't go through by, what is it, July 30th, then they can't sign another max contract.
Right.
And so they're stuck with Anthony Davis, who...
Well, stuck with Anthony Davis is...
Well, all right, listen. Yeah, they're not stuck with Anthony Davis.
It's like, oh my God, Anthony Davis, get out of
He's
here.
he's looking to extend his contract, but if he doesn't, and this, I believe it was the Celtics, no, the Knicks that have been talking about him for the 2020
Yeah, it feels like the
season.
Knicks have been talking about everybody,
So-
I feel like.
Yeah.
So if he only stays for 1 year, they lose out on that max contract spot, and then he goes to a different team in 2020. Man, they got to look back and be like, we really gave up all that for a guy for a year.
I feel like a lot of pressure is put on Rob Pelinka of the Lakers because LeBron James, how many years does he really have up to prime? He must have been, and you know LeBron's talking constantly like, I need a damn player in here that's a superstar so I can try to win another title.
Right.
Go ahead, T.
That's cute and all, but what LeBron doesn't understand is that look at what you gave up. You gave up a halfway decent squad, which in reality you might have needed a superstar or 2. Now you strap yourself. Like Tanner said, you can't even go out and sign a max player now. Like the trade, that's why I ultimately say the Pelicans won. Another one of the reasons why is because the Lakers strapped themselves with this trade.
Yeah.
Yes, Anthony Davis is a great talent, but what happens after
Right.
1 year if he decides he don't want to be a Laker no more?
I think it worked out well for both teams, in my opinion. Having a guy like Anthony Davis added to your team never hurts. But I think the thing with the Pelicans is they can afford to groom these young players. They have the time. They don't have a superstar in here who wants to win now. They have Lonzo Ball. They have Drew Holiday who can groom him. They have now Josh Hart coming off the bench, could be a good 6-man. Brandon Ingram, who's the 2nd overall pick. They're going to get Zion. I mean, and 2 future first-round picks.
Exactly.
This team in a couple years down the road, if they can progress, and Lonzo, who's coming out of college, had all the talent in the world, and he still has all the potential in the world. One quick thing I want to ask you guys: Drew Holiday is still the point guard in there. What do you do with the pairing? Do you kind of play Lonzo and Drew together? Do you first season with the Pelicans, do you bring Lonzo off the bench maybe and give him less playing time and kind of learn behind him, or do you kind of want to out there working together? Because he's got an insane amount of talent with his passing ability and all. He's got to work on the shot, obviously. But do you pair him and Drew Holiday together, or do you think we should bring off the bench originally?
I think so, because Drew can be a scorer when he needs to be, and Lonzo right now, his primary asset is his passing ability. So I think those two can work together so long as Lonzo doesn't have a desire to be one of the main scorers on the squad. Mm-hmm. So that's how
definitely.
I feel about it. But it just I thought the Pelicans didn't necessarily want to trade with somebody in the West, but when you look at the dynamics of the trade and how they've basically, in a way, screwed the Lakers over, which they kind of did.
Well, my question is, at the trade deadline, you got to remember this whole thing was going down with it. The Lakers were trying to offer the whole team. The whole drama came out in the locker room situation. LeBron's trying to get rid of everybody. But now, basically, the same trade happens in the offseason that could have happened in the regular season before the deadline happened. So I'm kind of confused on that. I don't know if the GM changed his mind for the Pelicans, but do you guys think the Lakers, depending on who they get, have a shot? I know KD and Clay are out. The West is a little bit more wide open.
Well,
do you think they can win one in 1 year?
Well, listen, when I said July 30th, I meant to say July 6th. But if AD waives his trade bonus, then they'll just have $27 million for a contract. And who's that leave? We got Kemba Walker, who the Lakers are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll tell you what, that'd be a dangerous pairing.
Right. Or they could bring back Rondo. He's already played with the team, and he's played with AD in New Orleans.
That's true.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
Just
That's true.
small players like that.
But let's say, for example, you do bring in Kemba in. Let's say Kemba commands maybe $25 million a year. Okay, now you still got to build the bench. You have no bench.
Well, then, yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing. That's why I said the Lakers really strapped themselves with this dumb trade. Like, you really traded for a player. You traded all your assets for 1 year. And now you can't even really build your roster. I mean, it's backwards.
True.
You didn't really think this thing through. You just seen a real pretty-looking diamond, and you said, ooh, I want it.
Right. I would say they can have these players and then make another trade, but they have nothing to trade.
Yeah, they have no
they
assets.
Gave everything up.
Yep.
Well, listen, one other thing I want to ask you guys. I want to touch into a drama situation just in a different city. Houston with CP3 and Harden. I mean, a lot of reports have come out that CP3's once out.
Nah.
The GM, Daryl Morey, says no, he's playing for the Rockets next season. What do you guys make of all this situation? We saw them 2 years ago get one game away from the NBA Finals, Chris Paul's injury, and then last year they just didn't have enough.
It's the same thing every season.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that the Knicks turned down the Rockets' offer for Chris Paul. So they're
The
trying to
contract
make
is
moves.
crazy, Chris Paul.
Yeah,
And that's
wants
exactly-
that. No one wants to pick that up.
That's exactly what I was about to get into. That's the reason why ultimately Daryl Morey can't move Chris Paul, because of that contract. That contract is extreme. Nobody's paying that much money for a 35, 36-year-old point guard. Albeit still talented, but nobody's paying that much money. No. For what? You're about to retire in what, a couple of years?
Yeah, he had his least productive season since he came into the league last year. I feel like Clint Capella took a step back this year as well. The GM said that he needs one more superstar, and that begs the question, does Jimmy Butler go to Houston, his hometown, to make a big three there and try to win a title without, again, this is what I want to point out. Clay and KD are out this year. This thing's wide open.
It is wide open.
Who wants to step up and take the reins? If they get Jimmy, which the Sixers should never, ever, ever, ever let that happen.
No.
But if they do,
no.
look out. I wanted to ask Tanner real quick because I know he has some free agent talk about the Sixers. Who are you looking at to pair? I know we got to re-sign Butler. I don't think Harris, we need to have Harris re-sign, obviously, because we need that cap space to sign maybe a starting shooting guard if Redick leaves, a starting power forward if Tobias leaves, obviously. And hopefully we can re-sign Jimmy Butler. Do you have anybody named?
Danny Green.
Danny Green's a starting
Danny
two?
Green.
So are you letting Redick walk then, or are you trying to bring him back on a smaller deal? So
If he wants to come back on a smaller deal, which he might, because
it's hard to let him go because he's one of the best shooters in the world.
But I don't want him starting on the court. I want him coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And if another team, say the Lakers, wants to offer him an $8 mil contract, let him go. Let him go.
We only have 4 guys under contract this season coming up
Yeah.
right now. I mean, Embiid, Simmons, Zaire Smith, and Jonah Bolden. who I don't even know how Jonah Bolton's still on the team after we saw him play. I mean, come on. He is just not good. And he's a backup center. The thing about him is he's supposed to stretch the floor and shoot. And every time I see him shoot, it misses. So I don't understand why he's under contract next season. That basically means he's going to make the team. I hope he doesn't, but you know, that's just wishful thinking for me. But
Pisses me off.
We don't wish ill things amongst innocent people here, Max.
you know what? I should just keep my mouth shut.
No, come on, man.
No.
That's not what I
Jonah
was
Bolton's
saying.
probably the nicest guy, you know, except for he can't shoot or play basketball well.
Just to put my 2 cents on the Anthony Davis trade, I just wish I was in the room with LeVar Ball when he found out his son won't be playing in LA.
Hey, it was
anymore.
his idea, he said. It was his idea.
Yeah. That's
Sorry, I
loves
forgot.
New
He's a
Orleans.
mad scientist.
Yeah, it was his idea. He can.
I can't believe he gets that dude actually gets invited and his opinion on things are
Stephen
actually
A.
valued.
Yeah.
Yes. You know why?
Somebody explain that
Because
to
it
me.
brings in viewership.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I
what
don't
it
know
does.
as much as it's valued. I think it's just people will turn on the TV and watch this man just speak complete nonsense.
Max, you are aware that Skip Bayless has a big audience, right?
Yeah,
It's because
somehow.
people love watching people be morons.
And we are not
People
that type of
love
show.
it. I mean, I'm that type of person.
We bring the facts. We will bring the facts to this show.
Always.
Just before we get into the NBA draft, I just kind of wanted to steer the wheel back over to baseball real quick.
Yeah, man, go ahead. The whole David Robertson thing?
As far as the David Robertson thing, as of 6 days ago, he started throwing on flat ground, not the mound. Wow. Gabe Kapler says he is making positive progress, but is in no form to pitch as of the next coming weeks.
Chris, by the end of this show, I want you to do one thing for me.
Oh, God.
I want you to go onto our roster, right? I want you to Google Philadelphia Phillies roster. I want you to dive into the bullpen and look at the list of names that we have. And I want you to name me
I can
the
do that
guys
right
you
now.
count on
Designate
that you
him
say,
for assignment.
who are you putting in this game?
Bada bing,
and
bada
again, they don't have to be
We giving out
perfect.
homework assignments now on this show.
For an example, Jose Alvarez isn't perfect, but you could count on him to probably get an out or two here or there.
All right.
So
well, since you started that sentence, I've pulled it up.
give me some names.
We got Jose Alvarez. We got
Okay, I can
Edgar
give you
Garcia.
that. You're going to give yourself Edgar Garcia. You think he's going to get outs?
Maybe.
You're going to get really?
I'm just naming guys on this list.
Don't give me the names. I don't want to hear. If I have to hear the name Juan Nicasio one more time, I think I'm going to lose my mind.
Okay.
Give me
Pisses me
4
off.
or 3, 2 maybe,
All right,
if that's what
so
it is.
Jose Alvarez will
Okay.
we'll go 1. We'll go Hector Neris 2.
Okay.
Pat Neshek is now injured though. Hey, fun fact: Pat Neshek is a switch hitter. Didn't know that.
Pat Neshek should go be a school teacher.
He's not your cup of tea.
And then Edubray Ramos. So I said what? 3 names there that are not injured.
Okay, so you're saying Jose Alvarez, Hector Neris, and Adubaray Ramos, and
Yes.
let's throw Adam Morgan in there because he'll be back hopefully this weekend.
Hopefully.
So there's 4 names in that bullpen.
Yeah.
Now-
Another thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, when I was searching for this whole David Robertson thing, I came across a article on the Philadelphia Phillies SB Nation site, The Good Fight, and it is a list of names who are on the trading block as far as pitchers are concerned. Here, I would like to read some of these names to you guys, and let's just do this the fun way. Give me one-word answers on every name I say.
Go ahead. Fire away.
Tanner Rourke.
No.
Sonny Gray.
Yeah, I take Sonny Gray. I think he's got talent.
So I'll take Sonny Gray over Jared Eichhoff. Or
The problem
Vince
is, who do you give up
Velasquez.
for him? And again, that begs the question: do we have any talent in the minor leagues? Do we really have any assets? We really don't on our major league roster.
Not
we
really.
were trying to say Michael Franco was an asset 2 weeks ago, and he's probably the worst player in the league.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you should have
sometime-
traded him early.
Sometimes you could have. Sometimes you'll run into a dummy.
You're right.
Andrew Kashner,
Oh God, no.
Dylan Bundy. I don't think the Orioles are giving up Dylan. But
Dylan Bundy's decent. I don't think they're going to give him
They're
up
not-
either.
they're
He's a
not
future piece for them.
Jeff Semar.
No.
Jeff Spaghettios.
Let me ask you this question before you continue. Do you guys think if we get another 5th starter in here, that, or like you said, to a 3, does this really help us I mean, it'll help us, I should say, but this is really going to make a difference when the postseason comes because our bats are so quiet right now. I feel like it won't even make a difference.
It'll help in terms of relieving some of the pressure.
I think long term it will help.
Yeah, it'll help in terms of relieving the pressure off of some of the relievers.
Not just a 1 year guy left on his contract.
Right.
I want somebody that's got 2, 3, 4 years left on this deal.
Correct.
Well, here, how about this guy? Because I know he wants out of where he is right now, Aaron Sanchez.
No, from Toronto?
Yes.
Yeah, he's still pretty young. He's
Dude,
25, 26.
I'll take Aaron Sanchez. Homer Bailey. Oh, my God.
Homer Bailey?
Homer Bailey.
He's still playing.
I forgot about Homer Bailey.
Oh my gosh!
33-year-old righty isn't going to throw any
No
more
close-
pitcher's name
hitters
should be
anytime
Homer.
soon.
To close this Phillies topic, two things.
And Danny Duffy.
Two things I want to see out of Gabe Kapler. One, fix the lineup. All right, stop nitpicking. Just look at the numbers and put the guys where they should be. Bryce Harper, gets on base all the time. Leadoff hitter supposed to get on base. He sees a lot of pitches. Guys don't want to pitch to him. Fine, he got experience. He's in Washington the last couple years. He's been the leadoff guy, you know. And the other thing is, use guys in the bullpen. I know you can't use them all every day, but I don't care if it's only the 7th inning and it's a 2-run game. You do not bring in a guy who's awful to just throw the game away. You got to bring in a guy who's going to get you outs. You can't just bring in, Cole, get out there and give me 3 outs.
You
Boom.
piece of Swiss cheese.
2 bombs and they're moonshots. They're going up into the second deck. Come on.
See you later.
That's all I want. That's all I want.
Real quickly, just the last name, Danny Duffy. That's a lefty. Would you entertain that? I mean, his numbers don't look too great.
He's not awful. I've seen him pitch well in this league. But again, I think that we need a 5th guy, and if we can get somebody on the cheap that has
on the cheap.
some sort of talent, and at this point doesn't take a lot, as long as he's better than Jared Eichhoff, I think we'll be okay. Yeah. Let's get into this last topic here before we head out. NBA draft tonight. This is a national holiday for me type feel, especially the last couple years because we've always had like the number 1 overall pick, and this year's is kind of a different thing in the fact that we have the 24th overall pick. So the first question that I want to ask you guys is, what do we do at pick 24? And do we stay there? I really don't think we have many assets to move.
I was about to say, yeah.
Got to trade up.
How are we going to trade
Yeah,
up?
but
Who are
how?
you trading? What are you
Jimmy!
trading away? We don't have anything. We got 4 dudes. You want to trade Jonah Bolden maybe? Okay.
All right.
Jonah
I'm
Bolden.
fine with that. If someone wants to take them, take them.
You know,
Jonah Bolden
I
and
think
pick
the only
24
way
for
that would work.
Maybe
is if we
we get pick 22 with that trade, and we get my man Ty Jerome.
22. You're putting a lot of stock into him. I thought we would drop back.
Just give them out for free.
I don't have a problem with staying where we are. I mean,
Really?
It's,
we need this. Listen, the key I'm looking at, the key to this draft tonight, give me 2 bench players. 2 that you can count on.
I
All
agree.
right.
Ty Jerome.
Give me Ty Jerome as a backup point guard to Ben Simmons.
Thank you.
The guy
I want
is
Carson Edwards.
a super professional.
He's ready to be a bench player in the NBA.
The dude can flat out ball. He went to Virginia. Tony Bennett groomed him. Great coach at Virginia, Tony Bennett. This guy is ready to step in day 1 and produce for us.
I like Carson Edwards, but me personally,
Carson
because-
Edwards is fine. That dude just dropped a 42.
But here's the thing:
Like it was no problem.
I've noticed the last couple of years how the Sixers like to draft their players. For some reason, they like to draft the athletic, live above the rim players. I.e., Zaire Smith. Guy came in. He was an athletic freak, not necessarily a shooter. Listen, that needs to change. Okay, you need shooters on this bench. You have enough athletic
Shooters out
guys.
the D League.
Like, no more guys who can dunk and do all kinds of crazy stuff in the air, who can finish at the rim. Let's get somebody who can play on the perimeter. Let's get some guys who can create their own shot off the
Right.
dribble. Let's get
Cameron
some guys,
Johnson out of UNC.
Let's get some
He's-
guys
he
that can
can
shoot the
shoot.
3, shoot the
Yeah.
mid range. Like,
We
no,
actually are predicted to get Cameron Johnson in the 34th pick.
and I wouldn't
Dude,
be mad.
he's
at that.
23, which is the reason he's kind of fallen because he really doesn't have a high ceiling.
We
But
got the
that dude can
33rd
step in.
and the 34th.
Day
Did we
one.
trade one of those?
No, because you need as many players as possible.
I think you take Kyle Guy in the second round, let JJ Redick walk, and you got your younger version of JJ Redick. Because Kyle Guy is a dead-eye three-point shooter. He's
How's
been
it-
that his whole career.
That's his defense.
He's got. Here's the thing. He's young and he has the size. I think he's like 6'4". So
Okay.
if he can, obviously coaching and the weight room build up his strength, I don't see why he couldn't. And he's bigger than JJ Redick, I think.
Kyle Guy is projected to go to the 47th pick to the Sacramento Kings.
I'd take Kyle Guy. Listen, the shooting ability, and this is a shooting league now. If you can get a guy at like, no pun intended, Kyle Guy. If you get a guy at his age,
Get a dude.
if you can get a dude like Kyle Guy at his age, young, and who can shoot the ball like he can, and bring him off the bench, man. If he can hit 2 or three pointers a game for you, that's all. You're not asking him to play crazy minutes.
All right.
And there's talent. This draft's pretty deep. There's talent in that second round. I think we need to get a backup center for Joel Embiid. They're saying that Bol's injury is dropping him down the board to pick 24.
Yeah.
It's a possibility we can snag him at pick
That
24.
would be really good.
Yeah, that would actually.
If the
that
Celtics
wouldn't be
pass on
bad.
him.
If we had Embiid and Bol on the same team, that would
that'd
be crazy.
Yeah.
So backup center is a necessity, I think. I think a backup point guard, because McConnell's probably going to get higher paid somewhere else. And if you can get a wing guy like Cameron Johnson to come off the bench and be a shooter from the wing, this draft, even if you don't even hit on 2 of the second rounders, if they're overseas guys or whatever.
Now, don't get me wrong. If Bobo falls to the 24th pick, I want the Sixers
Jump on
to
him.
take
He's
him.
too talented.
Now, but I don't think it's as big of a necessity as you think it is, because I think you can fill it through free agency.
Yeah, but
I propose.
Dude is huge.
Yeah, I understand
He's
that.
a freak athlete, man.
I
That's
understand
insane.
that, but all you really need from that backup center position is somebody who can play defense and somebody who can play the pick and roll. Yes, Bobo is huge, can play defense. That's exactly somebody that you want backing up Joel Embiid.
Here's
But
the
all
thing,
I'm saying
Steve. We're going to be
is-
spending a lot of money in free agency. We're going to be spending a hell of a lot of money. All right, we need a JJ Redick. I know you guys think he could possibly say. A lot of people are saying run it back. I think you let JJ Redick walk.
Yeah,
He wants to start.
and I agree with
He's gonna command a lot of money. I think you let him go. Your shooting guard spot opens up as a starting position. You're going to need to get somebody. Tanner mentioned Danny Green, which I would be fine with. He's a
Also,
better defender.
Seth Curry as well.
As a starting 2 guard?
I wouldn't make him a starter.
Oh, no way.
I didn't say starter, but just
Okay.
Seth Curry is out there.
He's got
Okay.
talent. In the playoffs,
Yeah, I
he played
agree.
really well.
I agree.
But we need a starting 2 guard if Redick leaves. If Tobias leaves, that opens up a max slot, or I should say a decent amount of money for us to spend on other guys. So I
Right.
see what your point is there.
But here's my backup scenario. As I've said on a show previous, Nerlens Noel, he is out there via free agency. I think you bring him back. You give him a 2-3 year deal. Say, look, all I need you to do is lock down the paint when you sub in for Joel Embiid. You ain't paying him a lot. He's good on pick and rolls. He's good on lobs. He's good at the defensive end. And that's really primarily what you need from that center position.
Here's the thing.
Backup center position.
With Nerlens Noel on the floor compared to Joel Embiid on the floor, that really changes your game plan. You really don't want different size, different versatility guys flipping in and out, because it changes your whole system of what Brett Brown does.
But I don't necessarily need my backup center to be shooting or to be an offensive threat.
Well, you don't need your starting center to be doing that, but Embiid does anyway. So
As
he's
much as
Joel
we like
Embiid.
it or
That's
not.
different.
I think if from Embiid's standpoint, somebody with a skill set like a Bol who can stretch it and shoot it. I know he doesn't have the size, but Embiid was a twig when he came out of Kansas.
Yeah.
So I think if you can develop him, and again, this is probably far-fetched. Bol's way too talented to fall to
He's
24.
7'2".
Yeah,
He's got
that's a big boy.
He's got crazy. He's got crazy talent.
That's a big
but
boy.
again, if he's not there, which the likelihood of him being there is really slim,
Yeah.
then definitely look out and go out in free
Yeah.
agency and pay somebody. For me, what I look for is like a veteran guy, like somebody that's like, all right,
Correct.
Get it. Don't be young. Be a guy that knows his role. Like back when the days when Amir Johnson was decent, because he used to be pretty. I mean,
He
back
was.
when he played with Toronto and the Celtics,
Yeah.
he used to be decent, and he knew his role, and he was a veteran guy. So that's what I look for in that.
He was a pain in the butt on the 2K sticks. But, that's another discussion.
Honestly,
That's fair.
the Pelicans are in such a great position right now. They have that they're picking Zion first,
Definitely.
and they have that 4th pick. They can either draft another. I mean, if that's only 3 down from Zion.
Yep.
That's 4th. Who do they have projected at 4th?
They got a lot of dudes there. Darius Garland's there. Jarrett Culver's there. DeAndre Hunter's.
DeAndre Hunter. But listen, they can either go out. I saw this. They can trade the Timberwolves for their 11th pick and Covington and give the Timberwolves their 4th pick, which is it's pretty great too.
I
But
think
if they
at some
don't-
point, I like that. I like that
Right.
idea. Because at some point, you need some veteran guy
Yeah.
to get in there. You can't have a bunch of
completely young team.
Exactly.
But if they don't have anything that comes up to their standards with what they're looking for, they can still get that 4th pick and pick with that 4th pick.
So you get Zion
they're in
and, like,
such
DeAndre
a great
Hunter.
position.
Yeah.
such a great position.
It's fun to be a
now.
Pelicans fan right now. I'll tell you that.
Right, but then I'm sure they'll screw it up somehow.
You think?
Yeah,
Man, it would be really hard to do that.
I mean-
the only way they can screw it up is if they don't take Zion.
Yeah,
But let's be
Wouldn't
honest.
That'd be something else.
What if you hear like
I'm
the
slapping
first
somebody.
pick, John Morant? It's
Yeah,
like,
that's
wait,
that. I mean,
That's like that Anthony Bennett pick all those
it's
years
not
ago.
impossible.
that would be sickening to me. That
I'm sure that would
Zion-
be sickening for Zion.
I'll
too.
be giving them one of these. Seriously.
You big dummy.
Zion goes from going to the Pelicans to the
Grizz.
Memphis Grizzlies.
What do you guys think the comparison is? How would you rate the difference between John Morant and R.J. Barrett? Because one is a great defender. I think John Morant is a little too small and thin coming out right now. I think R.J. Barrett
6'3", 175.
I think R.J. Barrett, man, he can defend. He's a good leader. He can score the basketball.
6'7", 210
I
pounds.
mean, geez, man,
Yeah,
he
RJ
is.
Barrett's more.
He's ready to go. He
Yeah,
was the number
he's
one
more
overall
ready.
prospect in high school coming out in the Duke. I mean, he was ranked ahead of Zion coming into the season. So the Knicks, if they get R.J. Barrett, at least they're like,
If
all
they
right,
get RJ
this guy,
they're getting
plug
RJ
and play immediately. So I think we stay at pick 24. The only thing what you're saying, if we trade up, obviously that would be shocking because
Yeah,
the assets.
we have nothing to give. I know.
All right.
Yeah, we really don't.
I mean, we had the whole a couple years ago. We're so used to it because we had so many assets. Because Sam Hinkie just acquired so many picks and guys and
Listen,
bolts and
it
this and
happens
that.
every year. We're gonna see a player that should have been drafted at 5 get drafted the 14th pick. It
Oh, of
happens.
course.
It happens all the time.
Oh, of
and this
course.
whole drafting is gonna be
There's trades.
all
People
over
fall.
the place. Yeah, there will be a trade. I'm thinking 4th pick. The Pelicans are gonna trade that 4th pick.
The only question is what team would come up there and snag that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Lakers traded that pick away, right? The Lakers
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
a first rounder anymore.
No.
I don't think so.
That's oh my god, what are the Lakers doing? Man?
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think
They
they're gonna do
strapped
something.
themselves.
I think the Lakers might do something.
What did
But
how?
they have
But
nothing
how?
to do.
How did they do
Right.
something with nothing?
It's just they
They just
man, I
gave
don't
away
know.
their whole team, and
I'm
they don't
glad
have-
I'm not a GM. I'm telling you.
I'll tell you what. I'm glad I'm not a Lakers fan.
Yeah, I agree because like I said, you strapped yourself for the future. You went all in to win now, but now you can't even afford to bring anybody in.
Are we glad we didn't get LeBron James?
Hey, shoot. I didn't want him from Jump Street. I specifically
didn't
said,
think we needed him.
no, absolutely not. I did not want LeBron.
damn time.
I just want Ben Simmons to
But
get
listen,
better.
guys. Listen, yeah. I mean, me and Max are on the same boat here. But you, Chris, and T, you guys were all for trading Ben Simmons. You trade him for that
Max-
4th pick?
I think
Do
Max
you trade
came
him
on
for
our
that
side.
4th pick, T?
I think Max came on our side.
Ben Simmons has been working out all season based on Instagram
You
photos.
do not
based on
trade
Instagram
Ben
photos.
Okay, working on what?
I hope the jump shot.
I was about to say, I
Yeah.
could care less about his muscles. I need him to work on that jump shot.
Listen, we were the only team to take the Raptors to 7 games. And that hurt. That hurts.
I think you can't get rid of Ben Simmons because he's a freak. There's no 6'10" point guards around here, and he was playing good defense on Kawhi Leonard technically.
Yeah, until he let him go to Joel Embiid.
Wait, T's actually thinking about trading Ben Simmons for this.
Yeah,
4th
this is
pick.
actually. I'm
You know,
really.
one thing I saw.
There's steam coming out my ears.
Ben
What,
Simmons.
Jackson
You think
Hayes?
you're gonna get someone better than Ben Simmons in this draft?
I don't think so.
During that
Ben
4th
Simmons.
pick?
I saw this proposal came out on Twitter the other day. Ben Simmons and our first round pick for the Memphis Grizzlies' 2nd overall pick, which would be
Which is-
John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., who they drafted
You'd
last year.
pick You'd pick Moran over RJ.
And then I think RJ Barrett's a better player.
Okay, then the Knicks would be sorry. Then maybe you get that 2nd pick, and the Knicks are like, hold on.
That's the only problem with this is if that in a hypothetical situation, if that Ben Simmons trade were to happen, you can't draft. I don't think you can draft RJ Barrett because he's not a true point guard, and we would need a true point guard
Yeah.
to step in. You know what I mean? We would need a John Morant, a playmaker. I just think Barrett's
Yeah,
more
that
of
would
a
be my whole
2.
thing.
But again, 6'7". I mean, God,
Listen, I'm not trading Ben Simmons.
no,
Not yet.
I don't think you can.
I'm not.
Develop that jump shot, and then I'll say you can't trade Ben.
Develop
We
a jump
will
shot.
see what happens tonight.
Yeah, all right.
It's gonna be fun, man.
All right. Well, guys,
Lot of stuff
what
going
a
down.
first episode of the Philly experience.
So you got the website and
It was
everything.
Absolutely.
All right.
People, new website. If you go to philly-experience.simplecast.com, you'll be able to catch this episode in about 10 to 15 minutes. We will also be putting our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, and Spotify, and coming soon, iHeartRadio as well. So
We-
people stay tuned.
We are moving up in the world. How about that, guys?
Yes, we are.
We are
All right,
going
people.
places. All right. Well,
bunch
it
of lowlifes.
is always a pleasure speaking with you guys. Until
Man,
next
Chris,
time,
you really like that song.
I do. It's a sad
Chris
time.
is in his
Piece of
feels
Swiss
lately.
cheese. The Phillies are bad right now. I have my own inner demons that I am just yelling at in my own head.
Let's go sweep the
But
Marlins and then
Philadelphia
sweep the
who?
Mets.
The
We'll be back here next Thursday after
It's an outrage.
a Phillies 6-game winning streak. How about that?
Follow us on Instagram and follow us, guys.
Yes.
Follow our radio.
That's right. We have an Instagram now because we are official. We'll
Yes.
get a blue check mark soon.
See you.
All right, people, next week.
Tune in next week.
I am pissed off.